Welcome along, everyone. In the next 10 minutes, I'm going to share two really powerful ways to help you navigate and influence people with ease so that you can get what you want, ethically, of course. If people's behavior is a source of stress for you, or you wonder how to deal with things like emotional outbursts, and it could be your own or it could be someone else's, perhaps your boss or your colleagues have done or said something that's just tipped you over the edge, or maybe the tone that people are communicating to you with on emails and texts is just the final straw. Anything that triggers you or the way people behave around you, then this really is going to be useful for you. It's going to start your journey towards greater emotional intelligence. This webinar is going to help you if your job is to lead people in any context whatsoever. So whether you're in school leadership teams, if you're an SME business owner, maybe you're a manager in a large organization, or perhaps a government department. Any of these areas require you to know about human behavior and to be able to handle it. I've got a couple of great concepts for you today. They're going to really help you develop this people power. My name is Simon Thomas, and I've been studying human behavior first as a leader and now as a personal development coach for coming up 20 years now. And when we're not locked down by a pandemic, I love working all over the world, helping teams and organizations and now thousands of individuals to understand and manage their own behavior. And of course, through understanding ourselves better, then we can build deeper and more influential connections with other people. I've worked with leaders, managers, teachers, NHS staff, and military personnel. And once you know those principles that guide human behavior, it's easier to step into your full confidence as a boss, as a manager. And it helps you to be able to influence others better so that they can reach their best as well. It hasn't always been plain sailing, though. I've been through my own struggles and had to learn myself to come through them. So about 8 years ago, the wheels were really falling off for me. I was in a bad place. I awoke one afternoon with a paramedic checking my airways and my pulse because I'd simply pushed my body too hard, really. And that was all down to significant workplace stress. And it took a big shock like that for me to realize that my life had to change. I was coming home from work, walking through the door and being a miserable dad to my kids and a rubbish husband. And so in those depths, I began my personal mission to learn everything I could about myself and my behavior. Why was I acting in such destructive ways to my own well-being? And how comes everyone else had power over me? I seemed to be wanting to be subservient to people and do what they said, rather than me being able to influence them. Now, back then, I dreamed of being able to choose a healthier and less stressful, perhaps more motivational way of being a leader and being a person. And since then, I've built up a huge bank of knowledge. So on the way, I've qualified as a hypnotherapist, a stress management specialist. I'm also an executive coach and mentor, and a speaker and a training facilitator as well. But perhaps most importantly, and thankfully, I'm a much more present and conscious and happier dad and husband. Well, after all of that journey, it's now my mission and my aspiration and my passion to share as much as what I've learned with you, to help you understand all of this and master human behavior. So whilst it's safe to say, I know now what makes people work, what makes people tick inside, I'm the first to admit it's still an ongoing project, right? There is no such thing as a perfect human. I'm just a regular bloke. And although I can read behavior, and although I have reached a deep level of emotional intelligence, I'm still learning and growing as much as everyone else is. And of course, life doesn't stop, does it? So I've got 2 teenage kids, and I'm learning as I go as a parent and as an embarrassing dad every day as well. So who is this going to be useful for? Well, I think, as I've said, if you're a leader of any type, maybe you're a business owner and you've grown up your business from being the only person in it With limited training resources, now you're having to lead people so that they run your business. This could be useful for you. If you're finding managing people difficult as a leader in any organization, or you're worried about doing it right, then this is going to be useful. And perhaps your style is more tell and do, and you've been getting some feedback lately around how it's not really helping to motivate your team, then this could help as well. I've successfully coached leaders and managers in all different walks of life and roles around the world. And today I'm going to share two of the key ways of understanding our behavior with you so that you can get to grips with these basic elements. First of all, we're going to use the powerful Lumina Spark personality model. And then I'm going to share with you the concept of the 3 I's so that you can start to change your perception of difficult behavior. So what exactly are you going to learn in the next few moments' time? Well, exactly how people communicate. Let's start there. And why might their way of communicating be really annoying for you? And the second thing we're going to touch on any minute now is helping you to develop more emotional intelligence rather than biting back or retaliating and getting wound up by other people. I know time is precious, so by way of a thank you for listening right through to the end of this session, I'm going to send you a link to the amazing Lumina Splash, where you can get your very own mini personality profile for yourself, absolutely free. I'm going to share with you a bit later on how to get the full Lumina experience to give you a massively deeper insight into your own qualities and behavioral preferences as well. So let's get started, and I'm going to share my screen. Okay, so what I've got for you here is we call it the mandala, but effectively it's the engine room of the Lumina Spark psychometric. And I've got all of this on a big mat that I like to share with my delegates, and we get stood on it, stood where our qualities are, and walk around it and share stories and examples. But today for you, I've got it on this PDF. And as you can see, the colors are very helpful here because the colors are very consistent with all of the psychometrics out on the market at the moment. You've got commanding red over here, down to earth, cool blue over here. Green's usually representing strong people energy, empowering green, and then inspirational warm yellow. So the thing I like about Lumina Spark is everything is a quality. There is no one quality that's better or worse than any others. And I love that about Lumina Spark because it asks us to see everything through a positive, valuable lens, I think. And I'm just going to share something interesting with you because I wouldn't mind betting if you think of someone who's really annoying, someone who's giving you a bit of a problem right now, could it be that they're simply the opposite to you in terms of your qualities? So I'm going to share some stories about these opposites here and see if any of it resonates for you. Now, the first place I'm going to go to is down to earth. Now, people who are down to earth love to know the information. They love the detail. And until they've got the detail, they're sometimes a bit hesitant to make decisions. They're very practical and they love a good list, these people. They like to dot the I's and cross the T's. But look what's opposite over here. Big picture thinking. Now, big picture thinkers are imaginative, they're dreamers, they love to be a bit provocative, perhaps in all the ideas that come through to them. Quite high level thinkers, the big picture thinker, always think of the next hot project, the next big idea that's going to dramatically change their offering or whatever it might be. But guess what? Life is down to earth, very process driven. She loves to know the information before making these big decisions. She works on the details. She's very good operationally because she sees all of the policies and processes that need to be put in place before we can land any of this stuff. But you know what? Sometimes these two rip each other apart because the big picture thinker will come up with the next harebrained idea and the down-to-earth person's thinking, well, you haven't helped me land the other 5 ideas yet. So do you see how it's possible to get annoyed by the opposite quality? Let's move around here to introverted, extroverted. Now, we can, of course, be all of these things. And in fact, when you see the Lumina Splash, you might well have strong elements of big picture thinking and down to earth. You might show real extroversion and real introversion. And that's why I really like it. Myers-Briggs is very much either or. But this isn't. This celebrates everything. I can be every single one of these. And that's no better or worse than any other. They're all qualities. So let's think about it. How could extroverted or introverted people be annoying each other? Well, maybe there's someone in your life who always claims the limelight. That person who talks a lot in every meeting. And you're sat there thinking, well, I've got a really small, important point to add. But this person keeps talking because, of course, extroverts like to talk and think at the same time. That's why you get a lot more out of an extrovert. Doesn't mean to say it's any better. Introverts are very good at making their points precisely and leaving it at that. Very good on a one-to-one basis. Very good at being measured and very good at observing what's going on. So again, these two qualities could pull each other apart. If you feel, excuse me, drawn to one or the other, then could it be that the exact opposite is starting to annoy you? People focused and outcome focused. Now, this one is very close to home for me. I remember working for a line manager who will remain nameless, but they were a real red. They were never satisfied, always wanted more than the target hit, very competitive. And I have a strong people focus quality. So I'm interested in how people are feeling, making sure everyone feels motivated and up for it, working with others, making sure everyone's in the best place possible to get the best out of them. And guess what? At the end of the year working for this guy, I felt absolutely drained. He'd never been able to keep him happy. And I said, look, I can't work for you anymore. You're draining me. And he turned around and said, Simon, you're so bloody happy clappy. Now, what he meant was I was being too people focused. And of course, he was being too outcome focused. So we'd ripped each other apart across the year. Man, I learned a lot then. Because now as a leader, what I will be doing is helping to contract with people to understand each of my team and think, how do I get the best out of this person? It's not necessarily what my qualities are. When it comes to motivating people, I need to know where they stand on all of this stuff. And that is what I will be sharing with you a bit later on. Inspiration driven and discipline driven. Now, for me, the story here is teenagers up here and parents down here. Now, if you're like me, you've got teenagers or kids, you might see them sat on the screens on the Xbox a lot. Maybe if their friends ring up on the off chance and they just head out, goodness knows for how long, then that's because I think teenagers are wired to be adaptable and flexible and just take life as it comes. You know, be spontaneous and in the moment. And of course, their brains are growing at an alarming rate. And so they're looking for spontaneous activities to give them a bit of a kick, give them some rush, because that's what their brains are craving until they're fully grown in their early 20s. Whereas adults, we're like, oh, why don't you get a job? Why don't you do something meaningful with your life instead of sitting on your backside all the time? You know, I hear myself saying some of these discipline-driven things, but this, of course, is a very adult place to be. Structured, use your time wisely, work on a project, do something important with your life. All of these things are very discipline-driven qualities. But of course, opposite us could be some teenage flexibility and spontaneity. So hopefully that's been of use to you as we've been through each of those opposites. And one of the things to really take away from this for me is that often people aren't intentionally trying to annoy you. I think the important thing for me is to understand that they're just opposite, in their qualities, in their preferences and behaviors. And of course, the world would be a very dull place, would it not, if we were all the same? So valuing the qualities that other people bring rather than rejecting them will actually raise our powers of influence, because we can now use their qualities once we know them to help us get what we want and to help them get what they want. So there we go. That's the first thing I'd like to share with you. Now, you, of course, will have the chance to get your very own Lumina Splash and Lumina Spark profile and portrait at the end of all of this. And just to show you exactly what you're going to be getting, I have a PDF of an example portrait here. So I've got an example portrait here to show you. This is an example of what you could participate in, what you could purchase as part of a fantastic discount I've got available. This is just a mock-up to show you what content and what information comes with the Lumina Spark portrait. It's a fantastic piece of insight. And you can see there's word clouds in here demonstrating all the different qualities that you can claim and how to use the 4 colors. And of course, here we go. Here's the splash that I was talking about. And do you notice how this is one of the great things about Lumina Spark here? You can be everything. All of these qualities have their merits. And of course, sometimes we overplay our strengths and our qualities. And we'll come on to that as part of the coaching with Lumina Spark to give you those insights on when do I overextend on these qualities? When am I a bit too outcome focused? When could I use my people focus a little bit more to get a different outcome and influence? So there's loads of wonderful things we can decipher when we know who we are. And there's some weaknesses information here. On this one, we're looking at the stars, which are the qualities we claim, and then the squares, which are the ones we do not. And lots and lots of useful information here to help us understand exactly where our styles, our behaviors might be coming across that may be very, very beneficial for us in certain situations, but in other situations may hinder us from getting a great outcome. Tons and tons of information here. Okay, well, I'm going to stop screen sharing. So now my second behavior hack for you today links directly to the Lumina Spark session we just had, and it's called the 3 I's. So if someone is annoying and frustrating, or maybe they're objecting to what you're saying, or just being painful for you, if you can, and they're not stood right in front of your face, find somewhere quiet first and take 3 deep breaths to start offloading the stress. Because with that annoyance and that frustration, you'll have some cortisol, some adrenaline. You might even be in fight or flight mode. The first thing to do is get back into conscious, rational thinking. So offload that stress to start with. And then ask yourself the 3 I's. I. The first I is, what's the intent? What is the underlying intent of this person? Are they trying to annoy me deliberately? Most of the time, people aren't. People are actually worried about their own head, their own heart, their own pain. And so often what we find is actually their intent is to do with themselves, not me. But if you're not sure, try curiosity. Ask them, where is this coming from? What are they trying to achieve through this? The next I is impression. What impression are they giving off? And what impression are they giving me? And I suppose as well here, what impression am I giving back? Do you sense that they're perhaps worried or angry, or maybe they're holding something back? If that's the case, share and acknowledge the underlying impression you're getting. Maybe ask them to clarify it. And then the final I is impact. So what's the impact of what they're saying? Is it a big deal? Maybe they're trying to improve something. Or maybe it's just making everyone upset. So really probing in on what the impact of this behavior is. Is it derailing the whole business somehow? So if you can get into your rational, calm space and factually share the impact, share the consequences of this in a calm and logical way, it often opens up people's eyes to the perspective and the consequences that their behavior is leading to. Well, I'm hoping you found these tools and techniques useful. We've covered off a little bit about Lumina Spark, so much more to add value for you on there. And we talked about the 3 I's: intent, impression, and impact. I'm hoping you found these tools and techniques useful. I've got loads more to share with you though about what makes people tick and about how you tick, so that you can find your true confidence and master those emotions and behaviors and influence the people around you much more effectively. I've got loads more to share with you as well about how to take the pain out of dealing with tricky people. Now, usually I travel around the world facilitating this and creating learning experiences that are very interactive and engaging. But of course, due to COVID and lockdown and all that stuff, I've now created a brand new online learning experience that I've packed, still with all the interaction and the engagement, absolutely everything I know. And so, of course, I've got a couple of products that I'm going to share with you that could really help you find that new level of influence, that new level of confidence for you to be able to deal with people in a more confident way. The first of them I'd like to share with you is something very special I'm doing with Lumina. It's your very own personalized Lumina Spark experience. So you get the Lumina Spark psychometric profile, plus a free workbook, plus a 60-minute one-on-one Zoom coaching call with me to help you immediately get started influencing and leading people more effectively right now. Now, normally an hour with an executive coach is at least 250 quid, plus a Lumina Spark profile, 120 quid. So that package would normally total £370. And what I'd like to do is to offer you an absolutely stonking deal on it. So you're getting the executive coaching with me and the Lumina Spark profile for half price, just £185. If you're really keen to know everything I do about human behavior and how to become super emotionally and behaviorally intelligent, then of course, I would love to work with you. Please take a moment to grab one of the limited number of seats on my People Power Masterclass. It's going to start in July. It's an 11-week program, but over those 11 weeks, it's just 90 minutes of your time each week, just an hour and a half virtual tutorial with me, with work in between. And that is going to, I've got such a huge package of stuff to load in there for you to make dealing with people an absolute breeze. What do you get in my People Power Masterclass workshop on Zoom? Well, you get an experiential learning tutorial every single week with me using the full functionality to make it interactive. All the whiteboards, the polls, the chats, the breakout discussions, everything to bring learning to life. And you get lifetime access to the private People Power Facebook group, where you'll find blogs, tips, videos, plus all the Zoom tutorials recorded and posted for you to access at any time. And this lifetime membership of the Facebook group enables you to ask questions and share your top tips and experiences. So it's a personal support network as you go on your leadership journey. You get a PDF workbook, including all the theories, models, and activities. In fact, everything you'll need to get the most from the program. And you get a certificate of achievement upon completing it. There are some mini homework assignments that I'll be reviewing personally to help you along the way. And you get a free Lumina Spark psychometric worth 120 quid to get all the deep insight into your own communication and behavioral qualities. Knowing yourself is the beginning of all wisdom. And that's full of deep insight. You get access to the Lumina Splash app. Oh, what a prize bundle this is. Personal Q&A coaching support from me throughout the 11 weeks. You can call on me at any moment to act as a mentor and a coach. And to top it off, upon completion of our 11 weeks program together, as a thank you and a well done from me, I'd like to give you a free copy of the new Heart Styles personal development book called Above the Line, which has been written by my awesome mentors, Mara and Stephen Klemick, which also includes a free Heart Styles indicator to help you be at your best every day and help you develop your character so that you can live a healthier, more effective life. And all of that together on its own, the book and the indicator, that's worth 85 quid. And if that wasn't enough, if you sign up to the People Power Masterclass in the next 24 hours, I'd like to offer you a £100 discount off the price. And that will guarantee your place, because I want to give every participant my personal attention, my support, and a fantastic experience. There are only 16 seats available on this program. So if you would like one of those seats, if you would like to learn more about People Power Masterclass modules and to book a call to apply to get onto the program, please click here. Well, with all of this behavioral and emotional intelligence under your belt, you're going to feel much more confident. You're going to feel so much more influential. And I think your levels of wisdom as you're dealing with people will just elevate. So you're going to have all the insider knowledge on exactly what makes people tick up here, and most importantly, in here, so that you can work effortlessly with people and drive performance. I'd really like to meet you on the next cohort. Please click right now on the link to either the People Power Masterclass, or if you would like the coaching experience and get started immediately, then please click on that as well. I would love to connect, personally answer any of your questions and get you settled in to one of those seats as soon as possible. All health, all best wishes to you. Thank you very much for sticking with me throughout this webinar. And as a thank you from me, please find the link to the Mini Splash app right here.